generally speaking, we have three different abodes or houses of the breath. We have the belly breath, which is the deepest breath, it's the most relaxing of the breath. Then we have this thoracic breath, or rib cage breathing, that comes kind of like an accordion action. And then there's an upper rib cage breath, which has more of this pump type action of the sternum coming up and down. And what happens is a lot of us end up breathing into the front and the upper chest, and we lose these different areas of breath. So in this class, I really want to emphasize breathing into the side ribs, breathing into the upper back, and then just breathing into the circumference of the low belly. So I like to start by bringing the awareness all the way down, sending that breath down into the belly. So let's begin lying on our bellies, either over the foam roller, over this rolled up blanket, or over a Coregeous ball. My favorite tool for breathing is the Coregeous ball, but use what you have. So I'll use the foam to start, just so that those of you that don't have the Coregeous ball can see. So come onto your belly and place the belly, the foam right in the belly. And if you're on the foam, you'll notice that you might have to start by keeping your self lifted onto your forearms. If you do find that you have to keep yourself lifted, this is where that other blanket might come in handy to rest the head on. And you may find that it takes a minute to get there. And as you arrive there, you may even rock the hips side to side so that you can soften in. And then once you arrive to the floor, over your ball, over your rolled up blanket or towel, or over the foam roller, start to draw your awareness to your breath. That's where all our focus is going to be this session, using the breath as a mobilizer, as a driver to create some greater release in the body. So as you're in this position, breathe into the belly. And as you breathe into the belly, feel how the belly can only go so far because the foam gets in the way. And then start to breathe into the lower back, feeling the breath lift, kind of like a helium balloon. So with each inhale, feeling the rising in the low back, spreading that area of the SI joint, of the lumbar spine, creating space by using the breath to broaden through the lower back. So we just started our focus with the inhale. Now let's draw our focus to the exhale. So take a breath in, feel the low back expand. Now as you exhale, engage the abdominals and force the air out. Making HA like you're fogging a mirror type sound. Once all the air is out, feel the emptiness and then relax. Let's do that again, adding a little bit more to it. So take a deep breath in. Hold the inhale now. Contract the abdominals. Then exhale, contract more. Hold the exhale and the contraction. until you feel like you have to inhale again, and then soften. Let's do that 3 more times. Take a deep breath in, contract, exhale, hold the exhale, hold the contraction for 3, 2, 1, and then release. 2 more times, just like that on your own breath, so that you're going with your own pace. Inhaling, holding the inhale and contracting. Exhaling, contracting more. Feeling the emptiness. When you have to breathe in, go ahead and let the breath fill you reflexively. One more time without any cues. And then release. And then let's come back up to our elbows. If you have the foam roller or a blanket, you're gonna move it up to your chest. I'm gonna give you 2 options here. So just take a peek at me if you have the firmer prop. The foam roller can come across the chest, right, kind of around breast height like this if you'd like. If this is too much, you could also choose to lie with the foam roller underneath your chest the long way, with it just beneath the collarbones so that the sternum is resting on it. You'll feel the sternum and then you'll feel the pubic bone and the head rests on the hands. If you have the Coregeous ball, just take the Coregeous ball right in front of the sternum. So not in the throat, but in the front of the chest. I'll join the people with the Coregeous ball now. So now we're gonna feel that middle portion of the breath. I really want to encourage expansion in the back of the rib cage. This area in so many of us becomes flat. And this is when people are lacking expansion in the back of the rib cage between the shoulder blades. This is often when asthma will present itself. So oftentimes asthma is a result of dysfunctional breathing, that we can't fill and utilize this area of our lungs. So with the ball underneath the chest or the blanket or the foam, choosing whatever variation you have that works best for you. Let your head rest on your hands again. And just as we did in the low back, let's begin by focusing our breathing on the inhale. First, focus where the ball and the breath meet. Feeling how the ball restricts the breath into the front of the chest. And then on the next breath, feel how the front is restricted. But because of that anterior restriction, it opens up the space between the shoulder blades. So again, feel the breath rise like a helium balloon into that space between the shoulder blades. With each inhale, feeling the rising, the buoyancy of the breath, spread the upper backs, shooting the breath into the back body. Taking one more breath. And then release the prop. Come all the way onto your belly just for a minute and sink towards the floor. And just notice the change in the breath since we began. And now we'll make this a little bit more dynamic. We're going to come to our hands and knees. Now we're going to take one of the therapy balls onto a book, onto a stool, onto a block. And we're going to get into those upper rib breathing. So we're going to come right under the collarbone here. And this is a really great way to address some of that anxiety type breathing now. So when we get anxious, we start to breathe into what we call it clavicular breath, so the collarbone area. So this is to help with that. All along here, all your lung points of traditional Chinese medicine. So we're going to come right into those areas. So take the ball right under your collarbone, just off of the sternum, and then you're going to take that right onto a block. So that now the chest is below the hips. Let the head hang. I actually might even turn my block to the lower height. You decide, because actually when I turn my block to the lower height, I can still let my forehead rest on the floor. Then there's less efforting. So I like to do as little efforting as possible. And all you're going to do here is really direct the breath to where the ball and the body meet. Feeling the expansion with the inhale under the ball, and then feeling a sinking as you exhale. And then you may just take your hand and move the ball out to the side. You can also glide and do a little bit of roll and do that again. Working your way out along the collarbone. Here, really exaggerating the exhale because we're in a position that allows gravity to help with the emptying here. As we empty, the diaphragm moves up towards our head. So gravity is going to help the diaphragm relax back into that softened position, the relaxed position up by our head. Take about 3 to 5 more breaths here, feeling your way out along the collarbone to the front of the shoulder. And then as you're ready, switch to the other side. Taking your time. When you come to the other side, beginning just outside of the chest bone and just below the collarbone. As you breathe in, breathe into the first 2 or 3 ribs, feeling the ribs expand and push into the therapy ball. repositioning the ball, or with your other hand or sliding the ball out towards the front of the shoulder. Cover that whole space. Feeling the breath descend right into the top of the lungs. So as you breathe in, feeling the breath come right to the apex of the lungs, underneath the ball. And then releasing. When you're ready, coming out of that, taking your therapy balls back into the tote. We're gonna come onto our backs with the therapy balls first in the lower part of the rib cage. And then we'll do a little bit of rolling with them higher up, where we'll use the foam roller or the Coregeous ball for an additional prop. So first we're working the front and the back of the rib cage, and then we'll get into the sides of the rib cage a little bit and end with some stretching. So now with the therapy balls right around the lower rib cage, so they're right in line with where my hands are in my lower ribs, they might feel pretty intense. So just to kind of get into the sensation and ease into it, maybe do a couple pelvic tilts, tipping the pelvis forward and back. Breathing in as you arch, exhaling fully, even making a sound as you round, as you lengthen the back. Find the just right spot. And then when you can settle into stillness, just allow yourself to be there. As you breathe in, send the breath down into where the ball and the body meet. And now hug your right knee into your chest, pulling the right knee towards the chest. Instead of pulling it up towards the head, think of pressing it down towards the floor. Continuing to breathe deeply, focus on breathing into the back side of the body. Keeping the jaw relaxed, exhaling completely, elongating the exhale, shifting your body into a state of ease, of relaxation, restoration, and then release. Other leg rises, pulling your opposite knee into your chest, starting slowly, just going to where you feel resistance. And with repetition, with each breath, pulling that knee a little bit closer to you. Taking 3 more breaths. With each inhale, expanding into the back body. With each exhale, sinking the ribs a little bit more towards the floor. Letting the back of the neck be long. Keeping the back of the head and the tailbone attached to the earth. And when you're ready, bring both knees into your chest, just bringing the leg that's down up to meet the other leg. If you need to, reposition the balls at any time so they feel like they're in that just right spot for you. Take about 5 more breaths here, extending the exhale. If you breathe in for 4, can you try to breathe out for 6? And then maybe exhale for 7. And then maybe exhale for 8. Taking 2 more rounds of breath, extending the exhale as comfortably as possible. Not going into struggle mode or fighting mode, just making the exhale as long as comfortably possible. And then release. One more activity here with the therapy balls behind your back. Maybe scoot down so the therapy balls move up now to right around the bottom ankle of the shoulder blade. Take your foam roller or take your Coregeous ball, whichever you have, and place it under your hips. Now cross the arms. I want you to really reach for the inside border of the shoulder blades so that you literally take one hand and try to reach it around so that you grab inside the shoulder blade here. And just like we were doing before, we're sending our awareness to the space between the shoulder blades, trying to increase the posterior expansion in the back of the ribs and the back of the lungs. Sending the breath up and back, filling those areas that we don't often breathe into. So now you're going to just get a little chug, a little movement up and down in that space between the shoulder blades. Just exploring that area. And when you find a place that's particularly stiff, pause and breathe in. And then as you exhale, feel if you can actually just feel the elbows dropping down into that place over the ball. So exhaling and feeling the drop through the elbows, through the chest, and through the ball. Find 2 or 3 more points where you can do that. Rolling maybe in between. Inhaling into the upper back. And then exhaling through the elbows, the ribs, and through the ball. Sinking with the exhale. Inhale through the nose, maybe even exhale through the mouth. Last time, last spot. And then releasing the arms, releasing all of the tools. lying flat on your back for a moment, maybe even straightening out the legs, and just feeling the breath, coming back into the sensation of the breath in the body right now. Noticing, where do I feel the breath enter my body with the most ease? Are there areas where you feel the breath easily? And then maybe there are some areas where you can't quite feel the breath. Notice those places too. And then maybe now you can just take a couple gentle breaths, just coaxing the breath into those areas that the breath may not be reaching. And then slowly bend your knees, turn to one side. We have one more rolling slash breathing exercise before we come into a little bit of stretching. So for this, you can take either your rolled up towel, your foam roller, or your gorgeous ball to the side ribs. If you do take the foam roller to the side ribs, please also support your head, maybe on your block. I find that I can't lie over the firm foam roller on my side. So maybe the towel roll might even feel better for you. But once you arrive on your side, you figure out the best tool for you. We're going to be breathing right into the side ribs, expanding the ribs like an accordion. And we're going to use that recoil of the breath again to help, and with the abdominal contraction, to help free that area. So using the muscular to support the motion. So to begin, just take your top arm, place it on the top side of the ribs, and literally feel the breath go into the prop beneath you and into the ribs above you. And then as you exhale, feel both sides of the rib cage draw together. Do that a few more times. And maybe even add a little extra pressure with the hands as you come back down. Now, let's add the abdominal activation, just like we did on our belly. So inhaling, holding the inhale, engage the abdominals. Exhale through the mouth like a forcing that air out, feeling the abdominals engage, holding the emptiness, pulling the sides of the ribs together as much as possible, forcing all the air up and out. Hold the empty until you have to breathe in. And then gently release and feel how after that forced emptying and that held empty, the air just permeates and creates this beautiful expansion. So let's do that again, trying to hold that breath kind of that breath release and that emptiness a little bit longer this time, making sure you stay comfortable though. So breathe in, retain the breath, engage the abdominals, feel the pressure build, then you exhale, force the air out. Force the ribs together, use the abdominals to push the air up and out. Feel the emptiness, the compression, feel the tension build. And when you have to breathe in, feel how the body just pulls the air in and it really beautifully expands. Try to stay out of a gasping response. So if you're holding the breath too long or efforting too much, there'll be this. So try to stay out of this and just feel when you need to breathe in and feel the breath just whoosh into you. One more time like that. Doing it on your own count so that you can really sense it in your body. And then completing whenever you're done, maybe taking just a few really nice modified book openers, like twists over whatever your prop you're on. You may find that the hand wants to come across like a rainbow, across the sky, or you might find that the arm wants to circle. Take the next few moments just to do whatever natural motion feels right for you, welcoming some free movement in. There's no right way. You're just gently moving in that new space. It might even be just holding a twist. Just so you know, we will come into 2 twists to finish the session. And as you're ready, let's go to the other side. Ball, towel, foam, whatever you have underneath the ribs. Taking your top hand to monitor the upper ribs, using just a little pump action of the hand to facilitate some movement to begin. Taking a couple deep breaths, feeling that accordion expansion, and then that compression into center. Trying to really breathe into the back of the rib cage. Can you really send your breath to the back body? This area gets so neglected when it comes to breathing, which is why we started the session breathing into the back. Adding maybe a little compression of the top hand, pushing your top hand into the ball, evacuating the air from the ribs. And now letting your hand come down, coming right into that abdominal control, using the abdominals to help us control the breath, adding a little strength and a little fire to this mobilization.
So breathe in through the nose. Hold the inhale. Engage the abdominals. When you need to exhale after that pressure builds, forcefully exhale all the air out. Hold the empty. You may even feel the diaphragm start to suction up. We call that a vacuum when you hold the emptying. It might happen automatically, or you might even try it. And then when you need to breathe in and feel the breath just rush in, cleansing the lungs. Let's do 2 or 3 more rounds on your own count. Now that you know the technique, breathing in, holding the inhale, contracting, letting the pressure build there. Exhaling as you're ready. Holding that exhale, that compression, forcing all of the stale air out. And when you need to breathe in, letting that fresh air rush into the lungs, filling the system. Our breath is the first defense for detoxifying the body. This is a great way to increase our immune system during this time, keep us healthy. Do 1 more round. Every last bit of air out. And a nice deep breath back in. Allow yourself to move freely here now, doing a little twisting, maybe circling the arm, whatever, like a windmill, whatever feels right for you. Just bringing some free movement, or a little book opener with the arm coming across the spine, just gently rolling over those underside ribs. Take a couple more breaths just to explore whatever your body wants to do now that it's moving a little more free. And now let's come into a stretch. I want to come into a thread the needle type stretch. And we'll do a little bit of that breath retention here. In that thread the needle stretch, we'll start in our hands and knees. And I want you to begin by reaching the right arm up and out to the side. And then as you exhale, the right hand is going to thread underneath the left so that the right shoulder comes towards the earth. Now you can certainly stay here and you can use your left hand to exaggerate the twist, but I like to reach my left arm up overhead to get more lengthening in my side waist through the lat area and those side ribs that we just worked. But if you want to work the rotation, keep the hand under the shoulder, or maybe even bring it behind your back, whichever feels better for you. But we're going to do 3 more breath retentions here. And we're gonna visualize breathing into our ribs again. So here, take a deep breath in, hold the breath. And as you hold the breath, I want you to visualize like a washing machine, the breath washing every ounce, every corner, every bit of the inside of your lungs. Maybe sip in a little bit more breath. Maybe one more time. And then exhale all the way out. Take one resting breath here. Full inhale, full exhale. Next breath, breathe in and hold. As you hold your breath, visualizing now a scrubbing action on the inside of your lungs. So that breath scrubbing the lungs clean. Maybe you even feel that agitation like the soap. Maybe sip in a little bit more air, continue that scrubbing action, getting into every corner of the lungs. And then when you're ready, exhale all the way out. Take one more breath. Last time, deep breath in, hold the breath at the top. Now visualize like a hair dryer, drying out the lungs. Maybe even like a vacuum, picking up any dust, any particles, blowing off anything that's stuck, that doesn't need to be there. Sip in a little bit more to give that action a little bit more intensity. Drying out the lungs. Maybe even like a leaf blower blowing away any residue. And then exhaling all the way out. And then slowly coming out, coming through center, just pausing in child's pose for a moment. Letting your breath come back to a normal resting breath. And then let's do that on the other side. As you're ready, without rushing. Coming to hands and knees. Let the left arm rise. Left arm comes underneath. Right arm can reach overhead or behind the back. 3 rounds of breath here. On the next breath, breathe in. Hold the breath. Feel the breath like water washing over the lungs, cleansing it out like a hose, rinsing the lungs down. Sip in just a little bit more. Keep on with that rinsing sensation of the lungs. And then exhale all the way out. Take a full resting breath. Next inhale, retain that breath. As you hold that breath, scrub the lungs clean.
Feeling the breath agitate, moving around the lungs, scrubbing away any residue. Allow you to breathe more deeply, sipping in a little bit more air, and then exhaling all the way out. Last round of breath. On the next inhale, inhale and hold that breath. Now, like an air dryer, free up any particles, blowing into all corners of the lungs. Take one more full breath in, sip in a little bit more air, and then exhale all the way out. Bring your right hand under your shoulder, unravel. And when you're ready, in your own time, come back to child's pose. Let your breath normalize. And then roll up slowly. Coming into our last posture. All this is going to be is just going to be a little inversion. And you're just going to take your hips up to your Courgeous ball or your foam roller and let your head come down and your hips come high. Using gravity again to help reset the diaphragm to a resting place. Let the arms come out towards a W type position or a field goal position so that you feel the entire back of the upper back, the shoulders, the arms on the floor. If you feel inclined, you may even decide, oh, I want to lift my legs up towards the ceiling. But they can stay down too. So whatever feels right in your body, just allow yourself to be here into this gentle inversion. Allow your breath to return to normal. Free tidal breathing. Breathing, permeating every cell of the body. With each breath, nourishing yourself. With each exhale, detoxifying the body. With every breath, you're changing your chemical makeup. Cleansing, detoxifying, nourishing the body. Just give yourself one more minute to be nourished. And take as long as you need here, or as long as you want here. And as you're ready, and whatever time you want to take to come back to sitting, start to make your way there. First, gently release the hips. If you feel like there's anything else you want to do before you complete the practice, do that now. And then we'll meet in sitting. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It was wonderful to share this with you.